Come close, man. We ain't finna do it. Why did you smile?
What's up, YouTube? Just wanted to welcome y'all back again to just another session here. I know it's been a long time, but we finally came back here.
Long time.
Very long. And COVID has made things a little bit interesting where we couldn't record as often as we wanted to, but we do want it to come back with some good content and just get back to right where we were at. So I want to say thank y'all for your support. Most definitely want more videos to come along, and we're about to get to it into our next segment.
What is it called?
We're actually going to call this Stop, Listen, and Pay Attention.
Pay attention. Right on.
You missed.
Traumas. When James come up with this topic, it was very intriguing, and I definitely want him to share this. You ready?
No.
All right, see you guys later.
Peace out. Yes, most definitely. So traumas. The reason why I wanted to talk about this particular topic because in recent news there was another individual who gives relationship advice. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know who he may be. I'm going to leave him anonymous at the time, but one of the things that he said in one of his segments is men with traumas are making excuses, and I wanted to challenge that particular thinking because that is pushing on a false narrative onto someone else. What he should have said is, traumas give you a reason, but not an excuse. Let me explain what I mean. There's a lot of things that people tend to go through in life, that's both men and women alike, that will eventually begin to curve how they react to many different things in life. Most times people do not know what those items are because they make it a part of their personality. They may feel they're short-tempered because they feel like they're protecting themselves from something. They feel as if they are untrusting of people because they're protecting themselves from a lot of different things. They will try to be more controlling of a situation because they feel they're trying to protect themselves, and they will call that personality. They don't understand what the trauma really is. A trauma, for those who don't know what it is, in very simple terms, is something that happened to you powerful that changed your lanes of how you thought or how you walked. In most situations, it tend to be physical, unfortunately. Whether it's physical abuse, where it's sexual abuse, which could be a physical situation. But in the more subtle terms that happens in a more wide variety is verbal. No. A lot of people don't expect verbal abuse to really change their mental in the hardest of ways. I'll give you an example. Women, have you ever dealt with a man who you felt was way authoritative for your particular liking, where you felt he almost was like a dad instead of a spouse? Why did you feel that way is a question that I want to ask. Men, did you feel that there was a woman who was way too controlling and you felt as if you were emasculated because of her strength or her controlling. Why do you feel that thing particularly is? When it comes to traumas, we need to find the root and then attack.
Yeah. Why you can't just go on it head on? Like, why you can't just get at the fruit? Why you have to get to the root of the problem?
The reason why you have to get to the root is because that's how you kill it off. That's where it dies. It's just like a weed. Whenever you're gardening, you need to pick that weed up from its root so it never comes back again.
So it's always getting at the source.
Getting at the source.
Okay.
With that being said, things sometimes do take a longer time of a process for a person to overcome a trauma. If it's something that they dealt with their full entire childhood, you should not expect them to get over it within a year of their adulthood. Some people can, don't get me wrong. Some people have the strength to get over that. Mm-hmm. However, most people do not identify with the trauma until they have gone through a very specific situation.
Yeah.
When you're in a relationship with someone and you see that you're with somebody who's dealing with these levels of trauma, you need to stop, look, and pay attention. What do I mean? You need to stop and you need to actually weigh out if you have the capability of walking through this with them, not for them or not dragging them in behind you, but with them, side by side, just how Christ does with us. He wants to walk side by side. If you force somebody through, they're doing it for the strength and the love of you. That's not helping out the trauma. It's actually putting on another layer of it because they're going to do it for your satisfaction and not for the growth to break what they've been going through all of their life. They're only going to do it because they want to make you happy. So you can't do it by dragging them through, which means commanding it, which means, you know what, you either do this or it's done. They're going to fall against a wall where they feel like they're not adequate enough. And when they start to fail again, because we have to understand in traumas, you may or may not repeat the cycle once or twice until you can get to the root.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. Excuse me, I had an eyelash. This is what I mean. Women who date men sometimes date them off of very horrible traits.
What type of traits is that, you think?
So some women, honest to goodness truth, will get with a man who they feel they'll go with straight physical attraction. He's sexy, he got a good body, he probably has a decent job, you know, things of these natures. Like sometimes in high school, they'll start with the superficial. And then all of a sudden they understand when they start with that, they don't get the essence of what they want in a man. Then all of a sudden they grow to be like 20, 30 years old. And now they want a man who's a father, a person who has a plan, a man who has some security, a man who knows how to save, who knows how to build someone up. And then when you become a little bit older, you're looking for someone who you can pour into for all your life. Now, from when you're in high school to like the mid-30s, how many men you have been with women, and then with men, how many women have you been with? Not necessarily having sex, but just dating. And each and every stage that you've gone through, you've gotten better at your selection on what you need to be better. You got better at your selection of what type of man you know can genuinely help you through your traumas. A very common trauma in women is an absentee father. That's very common. So they will seek out a man who is a father-like position to kind of bandage it over in comparison to finding a man who can love on them so hard that they no longer think about they need that fatherly figure role. There was something a good friend of mine said to me, and I want to pass it on to you all because it changed me for the better. Love is a choice that you have to make daily. Never assume someone knows that you love them. They need to hear it, they need to see it, they need to feel it. It's a choice that you make daily. I want both men and women to think about that and try to practice it. It's a daily choice. How often have you been inside of your relationship where you're like, they know that I love them, but you never feel fulfilled because they're not doing exactly what you want them to? How do they know? Did you make that choice to love on them? And that can be from the very subtleties of everything. A phone call or a text. I'm just thinking about you. You are on my mind. When you're at the store buying them something to eat or just seeing something, how it may be, or just giving out words of encouragement or just like, you know what? I seen something in a business venture that I feel we will be great in. Whatever it may be, that'll be part of the discovery of the two of you together. Loving on someone daily and making that choice daily is the one key to breaking traumas. Some people, it takes them a longer period of time to get over it than others. And you cannot interject your own standard on them. You can't put a time frame on them. That's part of the stopping mechanism. If you have to stop and you come to the conclusion that I don't have the tools nor the patience to help them through their traumas, you may not be the right person to go through it, because that might add a trauma onto you. It's not your responsibility. It should be your choice. That's going back to loving. Love is a choice that you make daily. If you love them daily and you make that choice, you're doing it freely. You're not doing it out of obligation. When you do things out of obligation, you put all these expectations on it. And when it does not live up to its standard, you feel like you failed, and then you feel like you've wasted your time with that person or that situation. It's a choice. When it comes to that level of understanding, you have to understand where it came from and attack it. As I said, I do want to repeat, trauma gives you a reason, but not an excuse. The one thing in 1 Corinthians that I love is love endures all. The only way that love can endure something is if you live in truth. You live in truth by being transparent. Learn how to live in transparency. The only time that you feel separated and away from someone is when you're hiding and when you're doing things in secret. If you have to keep secrets, pay attention to see if there's really love that's in that area. The best version of revenge is growth. When someone has wronged you, to learn from it, to grow, and to be able to feed into someone else, and sometimes the person who wronged you, to correct their errors, is the best form of revenge. To be able to break someone else's habit is the best form of revenge. Example, an absentee parent. The best form of revenge is forgiving them and trying to understand why they were absent. Most children do not understand how difficult it is for any parent to not be in their children's life. Whether it may be relationship issues with the mom or dad, drug issues, financial issues, or incarcerations, the same trauma that you're going through, the same pain that the child is going through, the parent is as well. And don't get me wrong, sometimes a parent will attempt to restart and rebuild all over again, which may anger a child even further because they feel as if they're putting more effort into a new family when it's actually the parent trying to do better for themselves. Doesn't mean that they forgot nor disliked you. They just want to try to do what's right now. I have encouraged one person to do this, and that's usually thank the individuals for not being there. Because although your life may have been difficult in your eyes, the success that you have is because of it. I know that's difficult to kind of hear and to understand, but when it comes for revenge, and if you really want to see somebody in pain and you really want to see somebody get what's theirs, I'm sorry, if you pray that to God, you're asking the wrong God, because you're asking the devil and not Christ. Everything works out to good, right? Mm-hmm. Everything works for the good, right? Mm-hmm. So how are you going to pray for evil things from a person who's only good? No. That is a very good question. How often have someone prayed like, God, I wish, God, I pray to you right now to teach that man or that woman a lesson. Mm-hmm. That I hope that they are in so much pain so they can understand whatever it may be. And then we get mad because God won't answer those levels of prayer. So we'll start taking it onto ourselves. We'll start trying to manifest things on ourselves. Revenge, honestly, is a drug that's fueled by pride. Let me say that again. Revenge is a drug that is fueled by pride. When you make it the priority to get back at someone, you're trying to satisfy your own selfish feelings. It's not because it's the right thing to do. What that man, woman, parent, authority figure done to you, it may not have been right. However, you have no control over what they do to you, but you have control over how you respond. The best revenge is growth. Educating people on ways of not to allow what happened to you happen to someone else. Pouring love into someone else. Trying to find understanding as to why something happened to you. That goes back to the weed analogy that I just spoke on in the traumas. Cut it off at its source. Why do you have the need to get back? Why do you have the need for revenge? Why do you want to see the need of someone to be in pain when you yourself do not like being there? Why do you want someone else to go through what you have gone through? So they can understand? That's a twisted level of thinking. I want to put so much pain onto you so you can understand what you did to me. I'm going to cheat on you because you cheated on me. Crap, now I'm pregnant. Crap, now I have an STD. But the only reason why I have an STD or a child is because what you did to me. Men, I don't trust women anyway. This one female did something to me, so I'm a master at breaking people's hearts, making them believe something and then doing something completely opposite. Doesn't that sound like a messed up version of revenge?
It is.
Why do we want to poison the world in general with that level of stupidity, ignorance, and pride? The best form of revenge is growth. That's the reason why I said revenge is good when you grow. Not when you're trying to fuel your own selfish, prideful reasons. The one thing that's very hard for me to watch mostly, and I did want to talk about revenge, some children who has had estranged parents make it a narrative to be the best parent ever, to stick it to their parents. I'm not going to be like your grandmother or grandfather. They were never there in my life. That's not necessarily pouring love into a child. That's actually pouring poison, because your love is tainted. You're doing it out of vanity. You're not pouring love. You're not showing the love to that child because that child belongs to you. You're doing it because you want to prove to your parents that you're a better version than what they were. That's not how you grow. That's how you stay inside that level of bitterness and vengeance. Allowing your child to be around your parents who weren't in your life actually helps mend your parent, because now the parents can wrestle with it on their own accord. I wasn't in my daughter or my son's life. I wasn't there. And oh my God, look at my grandchild. She's so smart. He's so smart. And that kind of helps break them. That helps them heal. That helps a conversation come from them to you in an apology. That sounds like a better version of revenge to me.
No, I remember reading this article, and it says, whenever something bad happens to you, especially in the past, don't look at it as if it happened to you, but it happened for you.
I love it. I love it. Revenge is something that you initiate. Growth is something that you allow to come naturally. I do want to make sure that everyone knows the difference between revenge and growth. If you're initiating everything, if you're trying to make everything happen, you're working out of vengeance. If you're healing from a situation, you're surrounding yourself around people, and then all of a sudden apologies happens and things happen, that's growth. If things start breaking down naturally, that's growth. Because you're not initiating. You're literally taking yourself out of it and you're letting God do. Why won't you allow God to do something? Because he's going to do it masterfully. He's going to do it perfectly. We're going to do it and make mistakes along the way, and we're going to justify the mistakes all the time. Allow God to genuinely and masterfully grow you. To a degree, that's his level of vengeance too. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
Yeah, and the way he does it, he doesn't do it just to make you smile. He, like I say, he does it to make you grow, and also that other person, because we are all together in this. Whether if it's a brother, a sister, or an ex, we all are one. Something for women to understand and not to assume. We don't really point these things out to bash you or to degrade you or anything like that, but assumptions can kill. And what we're doing is just simply just teaching you, giving you information so that when you have that right one, when you meet that right one, you'll be able to understand him. Because that guy that you are going to be meeting soon or that you already have is not going to be like your ex. So what do men want?
I'm going to try to make it short, but I want to break it up into two pieces. What do men want from you, and what you should want from a man? Is that fair?
Yes, indeed.
What do men want from you? I mentioned it briefly on Revenge. Breaks it down into three things: trust, loyalty, and understanding. Trust. Trust the position that the man was placed in, which means leadership. We have to trust that you trust us in that role, and we also have to trust that you will not allow us to fall underneath that role of leadership. If we stepped into that role of leadership, which is what we're supposed to do, a woman being the helpmate needs to make sure we meet those standards across the board. When it comes to loyalty, loyalty is a little bit different. It's being consistent in your zeal for the success of the relationship. Consistent equals loyalty. You can't practically waver from one side to the next. I love this man all the way. He a BAN. Not gonna say what that is. A lot of people know exactly what that is, but it's like, I really love him, but he's a terrible this and he's a terrible that. That doesn't show any levels of consistency. Loyalty equals consistency. Understanding. Understanding in detail what the man needs to thrive. In a video I spoke on before, words of affirmation is one of the things that most men need to thrive. We need to understand that. You need to understand how those words of affirmation affect him. If you are a woman who unfortunately have been through some very difficult situations and most of the words that come out of your mouth are very toxic and poisonous, all men aren't crap. I can't trust no man. I don't need a man. I can do what a man does. And if those are the things that you project into a relationship, you need to understand that that's going to be toxic. That's going to decay. I believe Proverbs speaks that a prudent woman is the crown of her husband's head. However, a quarrelsome one is the cancer to his bone. It will decay him from the inside out. Now, if we use those same words of affirmation for things that are more positive and structured, even if he's in the wrong, where it's like a word of affirmation when he's in the wrong, the expectation that you gave me from the beginning is not following through on what you're doing. That is an affirmation. I hold you to a high regard because I see you as my husband. I don't want to see you fall from that. Sometimes it's not what, but how those words are delivered. You can be very eloquent in what you say. You can be very educated in the words that you use, but if you use them incorrectly and they come off wrong, they're going to be received wrong. So most of the time, it's not what, but how things are said. So trust that we were put in the role of leadership, and then we have to trust that you will not allow us to falter out of that. Loyalty equals consistency and understanding on how words of affirmation work for us. But it's just like praise is more of something that fills up an ego. Affirmation fills up a spirit.
What about like someone, like a woman, let's say your woman is like congratulating you, you know what I'm saying, on sales or like your reputation, like would you still say that's considered praise or like words of affirmation?
So once again, that's like, that'll be more of a words of affirmation because it's filling up your spirit. So if you're pouring it, like if she's speaking in regards to career, because that's what you're talking about, career.
Yeah.
You know, this is something the individual poured his life into, and a woman at home is sacrificing time for the man for allowing him to work more hours at work so they can achieve a goal together. Mm-hmm. When the words of affirmation comes out, it's filling up the spirit. You did a good job. Like, you've earned this position. Like, good job. I'm glad that you're doing it. What's the next step? You see how there's extra things that's filling it up. It's like, I'm excited to continue to do this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? When it's filling up the ego is more short-term situations. Like, I don't know why it's there, and I'm not trying to be vulgar about it, but it's just, it's a very, I like to speak on things that are common. But even when it's talking about in like the sexual area, a woman will say like, this was the best man that I've ever had before. And then at the same exact notion, you get another man like, dang, he did something way different than the other guy. That's the greatest one. And then all of a sudden, everybody wants to be called daddy. That's like no, I'm serious. Like, I'm not trying to like make it extra, but this is real. It's like, that's more of an ego. That's more of an ego driven because that's more short term.
Stick it in!
Words of affirmation feeds more of a spiritual fulfillment. Words of affirmation is just like, if you're down in the dumps, words of affirmation is more speaking on, we've been here before and I know we can continue on. That doesn't really sound like a praise. That's more of, I have confidence that we're going to get through. Affirmation is words that come from God. That's the reason why it feeds your spirit. Praising is usually things that come from us. That's why it makes us feel good. When the both of you can enjoy the same thing, that's when it's affirmed, sustained. Affirmation means like done, yeah. Consider it's like a judgment, like guilty. You know what I mean? Like affirmation is that where both of you feel it, not just one. When it's a praise, only one person feels it. Yeah. Like, hey, I feel good today. Thank you for that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just like, I thank you for that. But when it's an affirmation, both of you are into it. You brought up a career and it's like, great job, blah, blah, blah. Both of you are feeling that because both of you are sacrificing. Mm-hmm. Just like that, like affirmations is both parties sacrificing. If he's putting in the work at the job, you're sacrificing at home your time, which is the one thing that you actually love. But when you see that the time that you're sacrificing for him to put in dividends somewhere else, and the both of you can join within that joy, both of y'all are filled. Y'all cups are filled at that moment. Like, ooh, yeah. I love this man or I love that woman for allowing me to spend this time at work and not coming home to chaos and frustration, but even more love. How was your day? What's the next step for tomorrow? What can we do better tomorrow that we didn't do at today? Like a woman taking charge of that affirmation where you don't even have to be at the job with the man, where it's just like, if he's telling you about his day, what can you do better tomorrow that we didn't do today? You see how she said, what can we do better tomorrow what we didn't do today? It's working that pieces together. And that's like, you know what? That puts that affirmation into a man where it's like, even when he's tired of the job, when the boss is on his heels and he just doesn't understand that when she comes home with that that reaffirms to him the sacrifice he's making at work is right, because he's doing it for his house. He's doing it for his kingdom. He's building up those bricks. He's doing it for his seeds. He's doing it for that helpmate that helps, that builds him up. Like, you know what? I can continue to do it because we're doing it together. Sorry, I got a little excited for a minute.
That's cool.
I got a little excited.
So I think I believe that what men and also women included is that what they look for is, are their visions going to be matched accordingly? You know, like you get the word divide, which is dividing the vision. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, your woman want to do this, but then I want to do this. Like, how are people able to come together?
That goes back to relationships 101. Take out the me, my, and I's and go to we and us. Mm-hmm. If what's being done is on a like-mindedness, which means we're doing it to build the kingdom, why are we bumping heads? Make sure that each objective that's being done is for building up the kingdom of the household, of building up the structure of the household that everything is being poured into. When two things are combating at once, there's a lack thereof, which is 9 times out of 10 understanding. And understanding is where there's a lack. How can we work this out together? Because I want to see you succeed. You want to see me succeed. We want the success for one another. You can't even say you want to see me and I want to see you. That's still two individuals doing their own thing. It has to be about that join.
Yeah.
And it comes from both sides. Now, what a woman should want from a man is leadership. What a woman should want from a man is loyalty. What a woman should want from a man is stability. You can't have you can't be unwavering in your step. Even in error, you better step in that error like you meant to do it. And be a man and be transparent and talk about it. If you always are walking too cautiously and uneasy, how can a woman really trust a man to be able to fight adversity? Famine is always going to come, man. Famine is always going to come. And if you're walking cautiously and in fear every single day, how can a woman really respect and trust that a man can get through the famine? You know who I'm looking at. How can she trust you if you're literally walking in that much caution all your life? Now, I'm not sitting here encouraging you to be reckless in your approaches, but be bold and confident even in error. Be transparent and honest even in error. Stop, look, and pay attention to the traumas, to the difference between vengeance and growth, and what men want and what a woman should want from a man. I'm glad we did have an opportunity to come back and do this again.
Yes.
This is just going to be a part one of a series that we're going to start flowing out with here shortly, because there's a lot of things that we're working on. Once again, appreciate the support. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, talk to us. We're open. We love to have fun. Appreciate y'all. God bless.
Thank you. You want to say bye?
I said God bless.
You got to say bye.
Blessings.
We got to say goodbye.
Stop.
And get your whole head.
I wasn't loud enough.
You loud, but you got to get... Speak loud.
You be weird on this intimacy stuff. You be like, come close. I don't like all of that. You got a lot of shoulder.
You know I got to...
You know you got a lot of shoulder.
Shut up.
I don't understand this.
Why are you so close? Come closer.
Right. In this segment that we want to talk about is what?
Revenge.
Say it again, please.
Revenge.
I don't think they can hear you because you got these sirens in the background. We have to be clear. Whenever there's a blooper, you're about 88% of the reason why it's there.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Get your tall, lanky... All right, come close.
Real close.
All right, forget it. What's...
You was gonna start up with it all good. Like,
I gotta pee. Hold on, I'm sweating. Turn your head.
You finna
Turn your head. I didn't wash my hands, dude. My bad.
Don't touch me. No, don't you touch me. Forgot you still ain't washed your hand,
I ain't even pee.
and you decided to touch your worm. Don't nobody have me.
It actually takes it out itself. He would look up like, I'm ready, man. I'm playing. That image got in your mind, didn't it?
You know, that's
It
the
has a
artistical
mind.
side.
It has
Don't
a
do it.
mind
Don't
of
do
its
it.
own.
Don't.
It has a mind of its own. You know. Revenge. I was inspired by James Brown. No lie.
You actually heard the words he said?
Yeah. Besides him, besides some.
Oh, man.
You gotta show him what you're doing. Do it.
I don't know what you're talking
Should
about.
do it. Hold on. Look. Hold on. Look what he.
He mad.
No, it's all you put your phone out. Hey, who's sticking straight out? Sometimes bittersweet.
Get that dick out of What the? Oh, Jesus, take the wheel.
See? Right there. It's a hole right there. And he's. Look. Just stick it out once. Look. No, right? No. Look. This is what he's doing. This is what he's doing. Look.
You just tore a
Look
hole
at his
in my
face.
pocket. And as you get older, your bones don't work as well no more. So, hey, let's be very honest. When a man becomes of age, sometimes things don't work the same.
Oh, it's gonna work with me. Okay? Just letting you know.
Women
Work.
with women, as age comes around, certain things don't work the same. Flexibility.
I'll make it work. Oh, yeah. Trabajando.
I was gonna say the end. Like the end. That's all I'm gonna say. Lord, man. You said this
Why are you so close?
like before you started recording. You said come close.
No, I didn't. You have to block that address. You can't use my property. You and your little high yellow black friend and all of there. Put that knee down. That knee. You got a long knee. What does men want? Smashing cheeks! What does men want? I can show you what they want. You bring your head down. Speeding out this thing.
Said trust, loyalty, understanding. Thank you. Goodbye.